Kan u vir of die dokument identifiseer?
Can you identify the document for the court? Kunale document ike engizokubonisa yona ke esifakiwe noma idlulisiwe enkantolo nanjengesiboniso noma ke exhibit JJ.
There is daardie document voor u.
Is the document in front of you?
Ek het die oorspronklike dokument voor my. Dit is sonder die dele wat u aangedui het verwyder is, en dit is die konfessie wat ek afgeneem het op 24 Junie 2020.
I have the original document in front of me, and it is without the portions that you have already indicated which were scrapped out, and it is a confession that was taken on the 24th of June 2020. Phambi kwami nginale document ke ekuyona ke noma ebizwa ngokuthi ke original, futhi ke le ndawo okhulume ngazo lezi ezikhishiwe noma eziqishiwe noma ezisuliwe azikho kulena enginayo. Lena ke ila biko noma kubizwa ngokuthi ke confession eyathathwa ke nge-24 zika June 2020.
Kan u kortliks vir of die agtergrond gee van die gebeure wat aanleiding gegee het tot die verrigting wat geboekstaaf is in bewieslik JJ?
Can you just briefly give the court a background of what happened or transpired with regards to that which is documented on this exhibit, which is JJ? Uma nje kafishane ke usungatshela ke inkantolo ukuthi kwenzekani noma kwenzeka kanjani ke ukuthi ke kubhalwe lokhu okubhaliwe la kule document ephambi kwakho exhibit JJ.
Die kantoorhoof van die Hoofhof in Boksburg, wie ook die senior landros is, mevrou Du Plessis.
Just look. The senior magistrate, who is also the office head of the magistrate in Boksburg, which is Mrs. Du Plessis, oyinhloko ke noma ephethe ke kwinkantolo yona ke leyo eyase Boksburg, okuyena unkosikazi noma ke uMrs. Du Plessis, ja.
Het my op 24 Junie 2020 ongeveer 11 uur die oggend by Vosloorus telefonies gekontak.
Contacted me on the 24th of June 2020 at 11 o'clock in the morning telephonically. Yes, he contacted me telephonically at Boksburg Magistrate Court.
No.
Vosloorus. Yamar. At Vosloorus Magistrate Court. Okwenzeka ke lana ukuthi loyo ke ophethe khona lapho ke enkantolo yase Vosloorus ekuyena uMrs. Du Plessis ngazo i-24 zika June 2020 isikhathi kwaku-11 ekseni wangishayela ucingo. Yeah.
Die dienste verrigte Vosloorus Hof op die betrokke dag.
Did you perform duties at Vosloorus Court on the mentioned date?
Dis korrek.
That is correct. Kuyiqiniso ukuthi ngalelo langa lelo ke ngangisebenza kuyona ke leyo nkantolo leyo eyase Vosloorus.
Ja, u kan voortgaan.
Sy het my versoek om 'n bekentenis af te neem te Boksburg Hof.
She requested me to take down a confession at Boksburg Court. Wase engicela ke ukuthi ngithathe ke noma ngiyokwenza noma ngiyobhala phansi ke i-confession kwinkantolo yase Boksburg.
Aangesien sy self en van die ander senior landroste wat meer senior in posisie was, nie beskikbaar was om die konfessie af te neem nie weens hulle betrokkenheid na bewering by artikel 205 wat hulle self hanteer het met betrekking tot die aangeleentheid waarvoor ek versoek was om 'n konfessie af te neem.
Reason being that she herself, as well as other senior magistrates who were much senior, were in no position or couldn't be involved or take part in the taking down of the confession, seeing that they were personally involved in the section 205 of the very same matter. Isizathu ke noma imbangela yokuthi angiceleke kwakuwukuthi yena kanye nabanye noma ke oza kwabo ababengaphezulu ke kuyena ngesikhundla noma ababesinya kuyena ke bengakwazi ke noma bengakwazi ukuthi bangayenza le confession lena ngoba ke kwakusekukhona ke ngaphambilini lokho kubizwa ngokuthi ke section 205 okuhlanganisa nalo lecala leli ke ababasebe kwenzile. okusho ukuthi ke babengakwazi ukuthi bangaphinde benze okunye okumayelana nalo lolu daba futhi.
Ek wil dit
Dis
net
bietjie
regstel.
hoor sê maar dit vir die volgorde van die getuienis, dit sal seker nie veel skade doen as dit op rekord geplaas word.
It is hearsay, my lord, but as the evidence will be then unfolding or proceeding, I don't think that it would it won't cause that much of damage.
So mevrou Du Plessis het die meegedeel dat hulle gediskwalifiseer is aangesien hulle reeds betrokke was by artikel 205 aansoeke aangaande hierdie aangeleentheid.
So Mrs. Du Plessis informed you, in other words, that they were now being they were disqualified in proceeding or taking down the confession, seeing that they had already been involved in the section 205 of the very same matter.
Dit is korrek. Ek
Sorry.
Yes. I'll actually raise an objection in relation to this evidence.
Yes.
It amounts to hearsay. Unless Mrs. Du Plessis will be called to testify and confirm the contents thereof.
Was it?
As a court, please, my lord, it's not important. We're not going to belabor the point.
Well,
We're not going to dwell on
ignore
that.
that evidence.
Yes, as a court, please.
She received a call from Mrs. Du Plessis, and she came
Yes.
and conducted
dis korrek.
That is correct.
interview for the confession.
Yes. Yes, u kan voortgaan. Wat het toe verder gebeur?
Ek het ongeveer so 25:02 die middag nadat my hof afgehandel is by Vosloorus by Boksburghof gearriveer.
Okay. 25, né? I arrived at I arrived then at the court, mentioned court, my lord, at 14:25 in the afternoon after my court at Boksburg was now done or had been concluded.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Vosloorus, not Boksburg.
Okay, I'm just mixing these two courts. My apologies. Get it right. I'm confusing these two, Vosloorus and Boksburg, my lord. Ngafika ke kulenkantolo la engangicele khona ukuthi ngizokwenza confession lena. Isikhathi engafika ngaso u14:25 emuva kokuthi inkantolo la ebengisebenza khona yayise iqedile ngalelo langa lelo.
Ja.
Ek het na die kantoor beweeg wat vir my aangewys is te wete kamer nommer 2 waar ek die konfessie sou moes afneem wat vir my voorberei is.
Okay. I then proceeded to the office that was pointed out to me, which was room number 2, and where the confession would have then been prepared for me. Ngase ngihamba ke ngiya kulelo room ke noma kulelo camera lelo ke abangikhombisa lona ke ekwaku room number 2 la ekwakuse khona ke confession leyo engangise ngizokwenzelwa khona.
Ja, kan jy net dit opklaar? Wat was vir u gereed gemaak?
Can you just place that on record? What was prepared for you?
Net die kantoor was beskikbaar gestel vir my sodat ek 'n plek het om te sit met die deposant en wie ook al teenwoordig moes wees om die konfessie te kon afneem.
It was only the office, my lord, that I was going to make use of, so that I would just have a place available for me together with the deponent and whoever would have been present. Kwakuyiroom nje lelo kuphela engangizohlala kulona ke kanye futhi naloyo ke engangizoxoxisana ngikhulumisane naye nomunye ke okwakuzoba nesidingo sokuthi abe khona lapho.
In die gang het ek 'n sterk teenwoordigheid van Ekurhuleni metropolisiebeamptes gevind wat gewapend was, wat daar rondgestaan en beweeg het.
In the passage, I then found a strong contingent of Ekurhuleni Metro Police who was standing there as well as moving around and who were also armed. Ngathi mase ngihamba ke epassagini ngathola ke amaphoyisa ke noma emetro police asekuruleni ayekhona ke lapho kulelo passage lelo futhi ke ayehlomile amanye ayemile amanye ke ayehamba noma enyakazi.
Een kant van hulle by die of naby die deur van die betrokke kantoor het ek 'n jongerige man gesien staan wat in handboeie was.
On the one side of where they were, on one side of the passage, just close to the door, I saw a young man who was handcuffed. Ngase ngibona ke kwakhona ke lapho kolunye nje uhlangothi ke la ababimi khona kunensizwa ke eyayimi lapho ke futhi ifakwe ozankosi.
Hy het weggestaan van die betrokke beweging van die Ekurhuleni metropolisielede en tesame met hom het gestaan 'n ander ouerige man wat netjies geklee was in 'n pak klere wat by hom gestaan het.
He was just standing away from the movement of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police, and next to him was an elderly gentleman who was smartly dressed, who was clothed in a suit. Eduze kwakhe ke kwakumi ke kunobaba ke ongathi ke uma umbhekile ke yena ke kwakubaba osemdala noma osekhululeke yena ke owayegqoke nje kahle futhi ke egqoke isuit.
Ek het 'n beampte genader van hierdie Ekurhuleni beamptes wie later aan my bekend geword het as meneer Liesering en versoek dat al die name van die betrokke Ekurhuleni persone wat teenwoordig is lys opgestel moet word en aan my verskaf moet word.
I then approached a gentleman who later became known to me as a Mr. Liesering, and also requested the gentleman to provide me with names of all the Ekurhuleni Metro Police officers that were there, and to give me that list. Ngase ke ngikhulumisana ke nomlisa ke lapho kamuva ke engathi ke uma sengimazi ke ngathola ukuthi uMr. Liesering, ngamcela ke ukuthi angiphe uhla lamagama lwalabo ababe khona lapho abasebenzela Ekurhuleni Metro Police.
Die persoon in die boeie, die man wat by hom gestaan het in die pak klere en die Ekurhuleni metropolisielede was nie een bekend aan my gewees nie.
The person that was handcuffed, the gentleman that was standing next to him wearing a suit, as well as the Ekurhuleni Metro Police officers, none of them were known to me. Kulona ke owayifaka uzankosi, lona owayemeduze kwakhe ke egqoke isuti kanye nalabo abasebenzela iEkurhuleni Metro Police, akekho noyedwa engangimazi kubona.
Meneer Liesering was nie beïndruk met die feit dat ek versoek het dat die lede se name aan my verskaf word wie die betrokke persoon wat die bekentenis moes aflê vergesel het nie.
Mr. Liesering was not impressed with my request to provide me with a list of names of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Metro Police officers, as well as the person who was accompanying the gentleman or the gentleman that was handcuffed.
En ek het hom maar net
Die staat gaan later vir meneer Constable Liesering roep as 'n getuie.
Mr. Liesering will be called later as a witness. Mr. Liesering akuzange kumphathe kahle ke lokho engakucela kuyena ke ukuthi akangiphe uhla lwamagama labo ke ama Metropolitan officers lawo aseGololeni kanye nalona futhi owayehamba nalona ke owayefaka ozankosi. Umshushisi useyasho ukuthi Mr. Liesering loyo ke uzobizwa ke naye njengofakazi.
Meneer Liesering is meegedeel dat alle persone betrokke by hierdie aangeleentheid en wat die betrokke persoon vergesel se name benodig word om aangeheg te word aan die konfessie vir deursigtigheid en hy het aangedui dat hy dit verstaan.
Mr. Liesering was informed that the names of all those that took part or that were involved in this matter, as well as the person accompanying the gentleman that was in handcuffs, that those were needed, and that Mr. Liesering was then understood that. Mr. Lisering wase etshelwa ke imbangela noma izathu ke sokuthi ke kuyisidingo ke sokuthi lawo magama lewo ke ayadingeka ke ukuthi la abe khona ke futhi azothi futhi ke abekwe ke noma hlanganiswe nayo ke i-confession lena, and that it was also necessary in order to attach it to the confession. That list would be attached to the confession.
Die senior landers was op daardie stadium ook in die gang en het so skuins agter meneer Lisering gestaan, ongeveer so 'n meter van hom af.
So the senior landless, no? The senior magistrate was also present in that very same passage, is just slightly behind Mr. Lisering, and was just a meter away from Mr. Lisering at that point. Ngaleso sikhathi leso ke umagistrate ke okuyena ke ophethe ke noma ke oyinhloko ke wayekhona ke kuleyo passage leyo, futhi ke nje emuva kwakhe uLisering, futhi ke ibanga elingangemeter emuva kwakhe uMr. Lisering.
Meneer Lisering het aanvanklik voordat ek hom verduidelik het waarom die name benodig word, aangedui dat hy deur my geïntimideer voel.
And Mr. Lisering initially mentioned it to me that before I could explain to him the reason why the list was needed, informed me or said to me that he felt intimidated by me or by myself. Wasengitshela ke uMr. Lisering ngaphambilini nje kokuthi ngimtshele ke imbangela noma izathu sokuthi kwakungani amagama lawo ke efuneka ukuthi ke usezizwa njengomuntu ke osatshiswayo ke osatshiswa yimina.
Goed, daar was nou hierdie gesprek tussen u en meneer Constable Lisering oor die les van almal wat teenwoordig daar was. Wat het toe gebeur na daardie gesprek?
There was now this conversation between yourself and Mr. Lisering about this list. What happened thereafter? Emuva kokuthi kusekhona le nkulumo phakathi kwakho noLisering mayelana namagama, kwasekwenzekani emuva kwalokho?
Nadat ek aan hom verduidelik het waarom die lys benodig is, het hy verstaan en ek het in die kantoor in beweeg.
After I then informed him the reason why the list was needed, he understood. I then moved into the office. Kuthe emuva kwalokho ke esezwile ke uma ngimchazela ngase ngena ke ngaphakathi ehhovisi.
Watter kantoor is hierdie no?
Dit is kamer nommer 2.
Which,
wat aan my uitgewys is as die kamer of kantoor wat ek moet gebruik vir die konfessie.
Which office is that now? That is room number 2, which was pointed out to me as the room that I was going to use for the confession. Ilele room ke noma le camera ke eli number 2 engangikhonjiswe lona ukuthi yilona engizolisebenzisa.
Ja, jy kan voortgaan.
Ek het my rekenaar opgestel en ek het my dokumentasie reg gekry waarna ek weer uit is na die senior landros toe.
I then set up my PC or my computer, and then I also prepared my documents, whereafter I went out again to the senior magistrate. Ngase ngilungisa ke iPC noma ke computer yami, ngase futhi ngikhipha ke amaphepha ke noma ke ama documents engizowasebenzisa, ngase ngiphuma ke emuva kwalokho ngaya kuyena ke usenior magistrate.
Ek is voorsien van 'n pro forma vorm wat nie ingevul was nie.
I was provided with a pro forma form which was not completed, which was blank. Ngase nginikezwa ke iphepha ke ekubizwa ngokuthi i-pro forma ekwakungabhalwe lutho kulona.
En dit is die huidige vorm wat voor die hof is.
And it is the current form which is before the court. Iyona ke lena ephambi kwecourt njengamanje.
Dis nou bevestig hier.
Ek het terugbeweeg, dis korrek. Ek het terugbeweeg in die kantoor in en terwyl ek in die kantoor inbeweeg het saam met my inbeweeg 'n polisiebeampte in privaat klere wie later aan my bekend geword het as Sergeant Mugane.
I then moved back into the office, and together with me as I moved into the office, it was a police officer who was wearing a private, who was in private, who later became known to me as Sergeant Mugane. Ngathi ke uma sengibuyela noma sengena ke phakathi kwioffice lelo kwase ngilandelwa ke iphoyisa kamuva ke engaye ngalazi nanjengo Sergeant Mugane.
Terselfdertyd het die tolk inbeweeg as ook die betrokke man wat ek buite gesien het wat in boeye was, as ook die betrokke persoon wat saam met hom daar gestaan het ingekom in die kantoor in.
At the same time, my lord, the interpreter moved in or went into the room, and then the gentleman in handcuffs moved into the room, as well as the person that accompanied that gentleman in handcuffs, who was wearing a suit, also went into the room. Kwathi ke kwasengena naye ke uTolika kwangena ke nalomlisa owayefakwe ozankosi kanye futhi ke kwangena nalo owayemkhapha noma ehamba naye owayegqoke isuit.
Ja, u kan
Die
voortgaan.
betrokke tolk het aan die oorkant van die tafel aan my linkerkant gaan sit en die betrokke persoon in die handboeie het langs haar gaan sit aan die oorkant van die tafel aan my regterkand.
Okay. The interpreter sat in front of me, but on the more to the left, to my left, on the other side of the table. The person in the handcuffs sat next to the interpreter, which would be now to my right. Utolika ke wase ehlala ke phambi. Utolika wase ehlala ke ngaphambili njena lapha kodwa ke kuhlangothi la ngaku left kwase kuthi lona ke ofake ozankosi wahlala phambi kwami ke na ke kuhlangothi la ngakwesokudla.
May I withdraw my objection? May I withdraw my objection, my lord? It's something that has been clarified under interpretation.
What was that?
I was heard that the interpreter said,
It's a
which
sit.
was sit
Langs me.
instead of said.
No,
Thank you.
it's Afrikaans. He sat on the other side of the table and the deponent sat next to the interpreter. Okay.
Die man
Wag, draai u kennis van die naam van die tolk?
Do you know the name of the interpreter?
Ja, dit was 'n mevrou Motlaping wat gestasioneer is sover ek weet by Boksburg die Hoofhof.
Yes, it was Mrs. Mutlaping who, as far as my knowledge goes, is stationed at Boksburg Court. Utolika ke uyabuza ukuthi amazi yini igama yebo kwaku Mrs. Mutlaping engimazi ke ukuthi ke usebenza kwinkantolo yase Boksburg.
Ja, kan voortgaan.
Die betrokke man in die pak klere wie later aan my bekend geword het as meneer Mjiyaku het skuins agter die deposant gaan sit op 'n stoel. Dit was die enigste ander beskikbare stoel in die kantoor. Die kantoor is 'n redelike klein kantoortjie.
Was it van Mjiyaku? Was it correct? Okay. The gentleman that was wearing a suit then went to sit just slightly behind the gentleman in the handcuffs, which was handcuffed, and in one of the chairs, which was the only chair that was available, because the office was a small office. Wasekuthi ke ubaba ke lona owayehamba ke noma ke ekhaphe lona wayifake ozankosi okuwumnika ekwakumnumzana umjiyako yena ke wase ehlala nje emuva ke kwalona owayefake ozankosi.
Net vir rekordiel eindes kan jy die naam Mjiyaku spel?
M-J-I-A-K-O.
Mjiyaku is spelled as M-J-I-Y-A-K-O. Umjiyako loyo.
Ja, u kan voortgaan.
Meneer Mjiyaku het skuins agter na die linkerkant van die persoon in die boeie gesit.
Mr. Mjiyaku sat just slightly behind, more to the left side of the person in the handcuffs. Mjiyaku ke wase ehlala ke emuva nje kancane ke ngakuhlangothi lwangaku left walo owayefakwe ozankosi.
Sergeant Mogani het vir my aangedui dat hy van die nasionale Cold Case Investigation Unit in Pretoria is.
Sergeant Mukhane informed me that he was from the National Cold Case Investigation Unit in Pretoria. sorry yena ke uSergeant Mukhanya wangazisa noma wangichazela ke ukuthi ubuya kuloko noma ke ku-unit abayibiza ngokuthi National Cold Case Investigation ePretoria.
En dat hy die persoon is wie die deposant na die kantoor gebring het.
And that he was the person who brought the deponent to the office. Nokuthi uyena ke owayelethe loyo ke owayezokhulumisana ke noma ezokunika ke istatement kulona lelo office.
Soos jou wag, die staat gaan later vir Sergeant Mogane roep as 'n getuie.
Dit sal tydelik toegelaat word, daai getuienis in verband met die uitgawings van Mr. Miyako. Mukhane, sorry.
Sergeant Mogane.
Sergeant Mukhane.
The state indicates that the state will call us Sergeant Mukhane at a later stage, and the court indicates that portion will be provisionally admitted.
Sergeant Mukhane is versoek om sy aanstellingssertifikaat te toon aan my, welke hy dit ook gedoen het, en reëlings is met hom getref om afskrifte te maak van hierdie aanstellingssertifikaat wat ek later aan die konfessie vasgeheg het.
Sergeant Mukhane was then requested to produce his appointment certificate, which he did, and I also made a request for him to make a copy or copies of that appointment certificate for it to be attached to the confession. Ngase ngimcela ke uSergeant Mukhane loyo ke ukuthi akangikhombiseke lokhu okushoyo ke noma ke okuyinkomba yokuthi ngempela ke uyiphoyisa lokhu abakubiza ngokuthi ke appointment certificate into awayenza ke leyo. Ngase ngimcela ke ukuthi enze icopy leyo ke ezohlanganiswa ke nayo iconfession leyo.
Terwyl ons op hierdie onderwerp is, kan jy net vir jou daardie foto van Sergeant Mogane aantoon?
Whilst we are on that subject, can you just show the court that photo of Sergeant Mukhane?
Dit is aangeheg as A, bewysstuk A, of aanhangsel A, tot die dokument.
It is indicated as Exhibit A to this, Annexure A to this document, my lord. Lana ke u Annexure, noma ke u A, kulona ke lo document leyo.
Dit volg net na die sertifikaat deur die tolk, is dit reg?
Dis korrek.
Does it follow just after the certificate of the interpreter? Yes, it is correct.
Nou, u het die verskillende posisies van al die mense wat in die kantoor was uitgespel. Waar het Sergeant Mogane plaasgeneem in die kantoor?
You've already indicated the different positions where the different people sat in the office. Where did Sergeant Mukhane, where was he? uSergeant Mukhane yena manje ngoba usushilo ukuthi abanye labo behlezi kuphi nendawo kule office leli uMukhane yena wayekuphi nendawo.
Ek gestaan aan die regterkant, aan my regterkant langs die tafel, terwyl hy vir my sy besonderhede gegee het en die aanstellingssertifikaat getoon het.
He stood on my right, stood on the right, that is now on my right side, that is now off the table, whilst he produced his documents as well as his appointment certificate to me. uMukhane yena ke wayeme kuhlangothi la ngakwesokudla ke letafula noma kuhlangothi la ngasokudla la engangihlezi khona ke ngalenkathi enginikeza ke icertificate leso ke esikhombisayo ukuthi ngempela uyiphoyisa nokuthi uqaleni nokuthi abeyiphoyisa.
Ja.
Ek het aan hom ook dieselfde versoek gerig dat die persone wat van Ekurhuleni daar was, hulle aanstellingssertifikate, afskrifte moet voorsien sodat daar genotuleer kan word wie almal teenwoordig was.
I then made the same request to him that the Ekurhuleni Metro Police officers that were there, that copies be made of their appointment certificates so that it can be noted as to who was present there. Ngase ngenza leso sicelo nakuyena ke ukuthi labo be Metro Police noma Ekurhuleni Metro Police ababe khona lapho ukuthi nabo ke kwenziwe amakhophi awo ama-appointment certificates abo ukuthi ke kuzobonakala ke noma ke kuzobhalwa ukuthi obani ababe khona lapho ngalelo langa.
Daar is aan my aangetoon dat al die beamptes die gang verlaat het.
It was indicated to me, or it was brought to my attention, that all the officers had left the passage. Ngase ngitshelwa ke ukuthi bonke ke lapho ke abasekho ke manje sebesukile ke lapho epassage.
Hoeveel beamptes was daar, min of meer?
How many officers were there, more or less? Babe bangaki ke ama officer aye lapho.
Ek het nie getel presies hoeveel daar was nie, maar daar was 'n sterk teenwoordigheid van ongeveer ten minste 8.
I didn't count as to how many, but there was this strong contingent of that was there of more or less or roughly about 8. Angazeke noma angibabalanga ke kodwa ke babe baningi ke ababe lapho engathi nje kwakungaba u8.
Ek het nie weer die kantoor op daai stadium verlaat nie en sou ook dus nie kon sê of hulle wel die gang verlaat het nie.
I didn't leave the office again thereafter, so I couldn't confirm as to whether indeed they had left the passage. Angiphumanga ke lapho futhi noma ke kulelo office futhi ngakho ke ngangeke ngisho ukuthi ngempela ke babe sebehambile noma cha.
Sergeant Mogane het vir my meegedeel dat slegs 2 beamptes buite die kantoordeur sal wees en hulle aanstellingssertifikate, afskrifte daarvan is aan my verskaf wat aangeheg is tot die konfessie later as B en C.
Sergeant Mogane then informed me that only 2 officers would be present outside the door, and their copies of their appointment certificates were then provided to me, which are attached here as annexure B and C. Wase engitshela ke uMogane ukuthi babili kuphela ke abazosala ke abazoma ngaphandle ke eminyango bona ke ama copy ke certificate zabo ke zokuqashwa uzonikeza akhona ke lana uB kanye no C.
Kan u weer eens uit hoofde van bevestig hier net hulle name op record plaas?
Can you just put their names on records?
Die een beampte is meneer Liesering, wie ek vroeër gepraat het in die gang.
The one officer is Mr. Liesering, the one that I spoke to earlier on in the passage.
En die ander beampte is meneer Jonathan.
And the other officer is Mr. Jonathan. Sorry, uchaza ke amagama alaba abawu2 athi babe mengaphandle ke Mr. Liesering akhulumile ngaye ngaphambilini kanye no Mr. Jonathan. Ibona ka babe mengaphandle ke eminyango.
Ja, u kan voortgaan.
Nadat Sergeant Mogane al die relevante inligting aan my verskaf het wat benodig is om die konfessie te voltooi ten opsigte van die polisiestasie en die kasnommer en sy naam en van waar hy is, het ek hom gelas om buite die kantoor te wag en die kantoor te verlaat en hy het dit gedoen en die deur is toegemaak.
After Sergeant Mogane had then provided me with all the details, my lord, that is now the police station, the case number, his particulars, where he was coming from, I then requested him to leave the office and the door was then closed. Emuva kokuthi ke uMogane esenginikeze yonke ke imininingwane mayelana ke necala ke noma udaba lolu ke ukuthi libuya kuphi ipolice station imininingwane yakhe kanye futhi ne-case number ngase ngimcela ke ukuthi aphumeke emuva kwalokho isicabha savala.
In die betrokke kantoor op daai stadium was myself, die tolk, die beampte in die deposant in boeye en dan ook die persoon in die pak klere, meneer Mjiyaku.
People that were now in the office at that time, it was myself, the interpreter, the person in the handcuffs, as well as the person that was wearing the suit, Mr. Mjiyaku. Kwase kusala ke office mina uTolika lona ke wayefakwe ozankosi kanye ke futhi naloyo owayegqoke isuit.
Ja, u kan voortgaan.
Ek het op 'n baie informele basis met die deposant begin praat om hom op sy gemak te stel indien daar enige probleme sou wees.
I then spoke to the deponent in a more informal way, just to let him feel to be at ease if maybe there was any issue or any problem with him. Ngase ngikhulumisana naye ke loyo ke yena lo owayefakwe ozankosi ngendlela ke engathi kwakungaqondi noma kwangekho nje formally ke ukuthi nje uma kwakunekhona inkinga awayenayo noma eyayikhona ke ukumenza nje ukuthi ke akhululeke.
En het vasgestel
Ekskuus, in watter taal het jy met die persoon gebesig?
In which language were you now speaking to the deponent? Iliphi ulimi owawukhulumisana naye ngalo?
Ek het Engels met hom gepraat en dit is getolk.
I spoke to him in English and it was interpreted. Ngakhulumisana naye ke ngesingisi noma English kwase kuhunyushwa.
Tydens hierdie gesprek het hy vir my meegedeel dat meneer Njiako is sy prokureur.
And in that conversation, he informed me that Mr. Mjiako was his legal representative. Wase engitshela-ke kuleyo nkulumo leyo ukuthi umnumzana Mjiako ummeli wakhe.
Hy het ook aan my meegedeel dat hy sal graag die verrigtinge wou voortsit in die teenwoordigheid van hierdie meneer Mjiako.
He further informed me that he would like to proceed in the presence of Mr. Mjiako. Wase ngitshela-ke nokuthi ke angathanda ukuthi aqhubekeke uMr. Mjiako ekhona.
Meneer Mjiako het vir my sy aanstellingssertifikaat getoon en sy Fidelity Fund sertifikaat, welke nommer ek ook genotuleer het op die dokument as 04415 van 2020.
Mr. Mjiako produced to me his appointment certificate as well as his fidelity funds with the number which I noted on this document, which is 04415 of 2020. Mr. Mjiako ke wase engibonisa ke naye ke esakhe certificate esishoyo ukuthi ngempela ke uyasebenza noma umsebenzi wakhe wenzayo yini, kanye ke nokubiza ngokuthi Fidelity Funds nale number eku-04415 of 2020.
Nou, hierdie aanstellingssertifikaat, wat het dit behels? Wat was dit geweest?
This appointment certificate, what was it? What did it contain?
Dit het aangetoon dat hy aangestel is as 'n gekwalifiseerde prokureur.
It indicated that it has been appointed as a qualified lawyer. Leso certificate ke sasisho ke noma simvuma ke ukuthi ngempela ke uyena ummeli ke noma uqashiwe ke noma usebenza nanjengayo ummeli.
Meneer Njiako het dan ook bevestig aan my dat hy wel die rasverteenwoordiger is van die betrokke persoon voor my.
Mr. Mjiako also then confirmed that he was indeed the legal representative of the person that was before me. Waseke Mjiako ngempela ke ekushoka noma ekuvuma ke lokho ukuthi ngempela ke waye uyena ummeli waloyo muntu ke owaye phambi kwami.
Yes.
Ek het dan voortgegaan met die dokument en die invul daarvan nadat die persoon in die boeie homself voorgestel het aan my as Bongani Sandiso Ntanzi en ek sy betrokke besonderhede van hom afbekom het en ingevul het op die verklaring.
I then started or proceeded with the completion of this document. That was now after the person in front of me or before me introduced himself to me as Bongani Sandiso Ntanzi. Now, this now the completion, then now proceeded with the completion of the document. Ngase ngiqala ke ukuthi manje ngigcwaliseke noma ngibhaleke idocument lena ke emuva kokuthi umuntu loyo ke eseyichazileke ukuthi yena noma ezithulileke kumina ukuthi uBongani Sandiso Ntanzi.
Ek het begin dan voorts met bladsy 1 wat lees as volg: note details of the deponent's general appearance, mood and any noteworthy action, en het ek voortgegaan om sy kleredrag en sy optrede en houding voor my te notuleer.
Okay. I then started now with the completion of this document where now it says note details of the deponent's general appearance, mood or any noteworthy actions. That is when now I started with now describing, that is now the person in front of me or before me, the clothing, his clothing, it's a clear drag in, as well as his conduct. Ngase ngimchaza ke manje ke ukuthi indlela ke engimbona ngayo nanjengoba ephambi kwami ke agqokile kanye futhi ke nendlela abonakala engayo.
Ek het hom gevra of hy enige mediese toestand of beserings wil genotuleer het, waarna hy my dan ook geantwoord het daarop.
I then
en ek het dit so genotuleer.
I asked him whether he had any medical conditions, any injuries that he would like me to note or to record, to write down, and I noted it or recorded it as such. Ngase ngimbuza ukuthi mhlambe khona ke la angaphathekile kahle ke khona ke ngwasempilweni noma khona ukulimala anako yini, ngase ngibhala ke ngaleyo ndlela ke angichazela ngayo.
Goed, ons sal Antons terugkom na daardie inskrywing wat u gemaak het.
We'll get back to that inscription which you
Ja,
made
u
there.
kan voortgaan.
Ek het voortgegaan om die dokument te volg en die vrae te vra soos wat dit uitgetik is op die proforma vorm en te notuleer wat die antwoorde was.
I then proceeded now with the form, that is now the completion of the form, and also posing the questions or putting the questions as they are on the proforma form and noted down the answers. Ngase ngiqhubeka ukuthi ngibuzeke imibuzo ngale ndlela ke ebhalwe ngayo kuyona ke le form lena nokuthi ke impendulo ke ngibhale phansi nazo.
Ekskuus, u het later u het vroeër vir hom gesê u het hierdie vorm bevestig hier. Dis aan nie verskaf. Dit was skoon gewees. Wie het die vorm aan nie verskaf?
Earlier on, you informed the court, or you told the court that this proforma was given to you or was provided to you, and it was not completed. In other words, it was a blank. Who provided you with this proforma?
Die senior landros mevrou Du Plessis.
The senior magistrate, Mrs. Du Plessis. Ushilo ke ngaphambilini ukuthi iform lena ke wathi uma ke wayinikezwa futhi uma uyinikeza ke bangabhalwe lutho kuyona. Ubani wakunikeza? Uthi ke senior magistrate Mrs. Du Plessis.
Het u van tevore 'n bekentenis afgeneem?
Did you previously or had you previously taken down a confession?
Dis korrek.
That is correct. Ingabe ngaphambilini lokho bakubiza ukuthi i-confession wawuke wakwenza yini ukuthatha yini? Yebo kunjalo.
Min of meer hoeveel?
More or less how many?
Dis moeilik om te sê aangesien ek nie pertinent rekord gehou het nie, maar ek sou sê nie minder as 50 nie.
It is difficult to say, seeing that I never kept a record of that, but I would say not less than 50. Angeke ngisho ke ukuthi ke amangakanani ke ngoba ke ngangabhali phansi ke ukuthi ke ngigcine record ukuthi manga kodwa ngingasho nje ukuthi awekho ngaphansi kuka 50.
Ek wil net sê dit is ten opsigte van die hele tydperk van my beroep.
I just want to make mention that that is for the whole duration of working. Ngifuna ke ukusho lokho ukuthi lokho ke noma lokho 50 ngoba ngaphansi ko 50 sonke lesikhathi ngisebenza.
Nou, hierdie bevestig hier, die vorm, is dit 'n standaarde vorm wat julle gebruik vir doeleindes van bekentenisse?
Now, this form, now Exhibit JJ, is a standard form that you use for confessions.
Hierdie is 'n standaardvorm wat by Boksburg gebruik word. Ander howe het hulle eie standaardvorms wat hulle gebruik, maar die inhoud is min of meer dieselfde en voldoen aan die bepalinge van die grondwet.
This form is a standard form that is used in Boksburg. Other offices have got their standard form, but the content is the same, but now it is according to the requirements of the Constitution. Le form lena ke iyona ke esetshenziswa eBoksburg. Amanye amahhovisi ke aneyawo ke iform, kodwa lokhu okubhaliwe kuwona ke into eyodwa futhi ke hambisana ke nawo umthetho asisekelo.
Ek wil net byvoeg, hierdie is 'n riglyn. Dit beteken nie dat as landros jy voel dat jy nog vrae wil byvra, jy net gebonde is aan hierdie vrae nie en kan jy verder vra solank dit genotuleer is.
I just want to further mention that this is a guideline, but it doesn't restrict you as a magistrate that you only stick to these questions that are noted here. If it is that you want to ask further questions, as long as they're just noted or recorded down. Funa ke ukusho ukuthi ke yona ke iform lena ke yona ke esetshenziswayo ke noma ke ekuyi guideline, kodwa ke akusho lokho ukuthi na njengemantshi wena ke uphelela nje kule mibuzo ebhaliwe lana. Uma kuukuthi khona eminye imibuzo ofisa ukuthi uyibuzeke, usengakwenza ke lokho ukuthi nje okufunekayo ukuthi nje uyibhale phansi.
Goed. kan voortgaan en die vorm behandel.
In hierdie betrokke geval het ek nie nodig geag om verdere vrae te vra buiten die vrae wat hier getik is nie, aangesien dit al die vereistes vir 'n konfessie dek.
Just a moment. Requirements cover. In this instance, my Lord, I did not see any need for me to ask any further questions, seeing that the questions that are here, that are typed here, cover all the requirements. Mina-ke angisibonanga-ke isidingo, noma sibangakhona-ke isidingo sokuthi ngibuzeke eminye imibuzo-ke ngaphandleni kwalena-ke imibuzo ekhona-ke la.
Ja, jy kan voortgaan.
Nadat ek al die standaard vrae gevra het soos wat uiteengesit is in bewysstuk JJ vanaf vraag nommer 1 tot en met vraag nommer 13 en die hof en ek voortgegaan het om die konfessie af te neem nadat hy vertel het wat hy wou vertel, is elke bladsy insluitend die betrokke bladsy waaroor ek vandag getuig teruggetolk na hom toe deur die tolk.
After going through all the standard questions, which are from question number 1 up to question number 13, as well as taking down now the confession where he said everything that he wanted to say, including the page that I'm here to testify about. Everything or every page was then interpreted back to him. Emuva kokuthi-ke sengibuze yonke-ke imibuzo kusukela kuyena-ke unumber 1 kwaze kwayofika-ke kunumber 13, nokuthi-ke sengiqalile-ke nokuthi ngithathe-ke i-confession ukuthi asho konke lokho ayefisa ukuthi akusho-ke, kanye-ke nale page le engizofakaza ngayo namuhla yonke into-ke wase eyitolikelwa.
Die betrokke persoon wat met wie ek die onderhoud gevoer het, is sy ene meneer Bongani en Tanzi soos aangedui is, en nadat elke bladsy en alles wat gedoen was in sy teenwoordigheid en neergeskryf is en neergepen is, vir hom teruggetolk is en hy aangedui dat hy tevrede is met dit wat genotuleer is hy versoek om iedere en elke bladsy te teken, welke hy dan ook gedoen het in my teenwoordigheid en in die teenwoordigheid van die tolk en in die teenwoordigheid van sy prokureur.
After myself and now the person with whom I had an interview, as I earlier on indicated that it was Mr. Bongani Ntanzi, every document completed and everything read back, and interpreted back to him. I then requested him, and after he had indicated that he was satisfied, then requested him to sign each and every page in my presence, in the presence of the interpreter, as well as in the presence of his legal representative, Mr. Mjiako.
Okay.
Emuva-ke kokuthi-ke konke-ke sekwenziwe-ke kubhalwe phansi yonke into-ke esetolikelwe konke-ke okulana-ke ngase ngimcela-ke kukhona mina, kukhona utolika, kukhona kanye-ke nommeli wake uMr. Mjiako, ukuthi nasemuva kokuthi eshilo-ke futhi ukuthi wenelisekile-ke ngako konke noma ngayo yonke into, ngamcela ukuthi kasayinde ipage ngayodwa kulama page lana.
Okay, mevrou, ons sal Antons terugkeer na die aspek. Kan u maar die vorm soos dit is in die record inlees?
We will get back to that. Can you then read the form as is into the record?
Polisiestasie, I will read it in English because it's English.
Begin by die hoofstuk.
Statement in terms of Section 217, Act 51 of 77. Police Station and CAS number Vosloorus 636-10-2014.
Can you read up to the end? It's fine. I'll interpret.
On the 24th of June 2020 at 14:30 and at Boksburg in the district of Ekurhuleni North, before me, Ms. V. Cronje, Additional Magistrate for the district, and behind closed doors I invite the department into my private office room number 2, and in the presence of Ms. Evelyn Tsepiso Motlaping. As interpreter, appears Bongani Sandisu Ntanzi, male, 1990-12-02.
Yeah.
Assisted by Mr. Dominic Ntokozi Mjiaku on request of, on insistence of Mr. Ntanzi. No other
Just a
persons
minute.
present?
Yes, just a minute, just give the interpreter a
No,
chance.
I requested it to just read the full, I'll interpret.
Yeah.
Fidelity Fund Certificate 04415 of 2020.
Lana ke le form ifundeka ngale ndlela ke ukuthi istatement ke lesenziwe ke phansi kwakhe ke usection 217 is it here 217 51 ka 1977 ipolice station kanye ke ne case number uphosphorus 63610 2014 ilanga ke i24 zika June 2020 isikhathi u2:30 emini 14:30 enkantolo ke yase Boksburg ekuruleni phambi kwami uMiss V Cronier magistrate futhi ke kuyinkantolo noma ke kuyihhovisi elivaliwe ngase ke ngibiza ke loyo ke engangizokhulumisana naye ke kuyihhovisi lami eli private room number 2 kukhona ke uMiss Evelyn Tsepiso Motlaping nanje ngotolika phambi kwami ke kukhona ke uBongani Sandiso Ntanzi umuntu wesilisa u1990 1202 ngilekelelwa ke uM Dominic Ntokozo Mjiyako ngesicelo sakhe ke yena ke umnumzana uNtanzi kanye ke nale number ibibiziwe yakhe ke umjiyako uFFC 04415 2020.
Ekskuus, daardie gegevens 1990-12-02 waarvan dan is dit afkomstig?
Die deposant, meneer Bongani Ntanzi, het dit aan my verskaf.
Now those details there 1990 1202 where did you get the information from? The deponent Mr. Bongani Sandiso Ntanzi provided me with those. Uyabuza kumshushisi ukuthi lokho bhale lapha yana ke u1990 1202 wakuthola kuphi uthi kumephendula ke uBongani Sandiso Ntanzi uyena ke owanginikeza le yamininingwane.
Yes, yeah.
The department was brought to my office by Sergeant Vusumuzi Mogwane, National Cold Case Investigation Unit, Pretoria. Note details of the department's general appearance, mood, or any noteworthy actions. It was noted that the department is confident, made good direct eye contact. He wore a blue medical face mask, long sleeve navy blue, light blue front top, Impala emblem, track suit jacket, and a blue denim. Both his hands were cuffed in front of him.
Just net 'n oombliekie. Dan is die gedeelte wat my geleerde vriend versoek het dat dit nie op rekord geplaas moet word.
That's now just a moment. That's the part that my colleague requested not to be placed on record.
Okay, kan voortgaan, ekskuus.
Both hands cuffed in front of him, cuffs loose, not tight. No visible marks on face or hands.
Lana ke kusechazwa ke okay noma ke umuntu owaletha ke yena owamletha ke kuhhovisi lami uyena uSergeant Vusumuzi Mogwane othi owayichaza ke nokuthi ke ubuya ke eNational Cold Case Investigation Unit ePretoria chazwa ke lana indlela awayibukeka engayo noma engambona engayo ke phambi kwami ukuthi ubonakala nje enokuzethemba futhi ke nokuthi nokubhekana ke ngamehlo ke kwangasimuntu ke owabalekisayo amehlo kwakune eye contact ke efake ke face noma ke imask la ebusweni eyayi blue ngombala egqoke i long sleeve e navy blue i light blue i top ngaphambili ene emblem ke ye Impala i track suit jacket kanye ke ne denim e blue zombili ke izandla zakhe ifakwe ozankosi phambi kwakhe ke kodwa ama cuffs aye loose ayengekho tight.
Hier ek sien dis amper 25:11 is dit 'n dienstige tyd om die kort verdagging te neem op hierdie stadium.
Is vandaag tot welke tyd?
15 minute.
15 minutes.
15 minuten is vandaag.